and welcome to another episode of Multi-Sport Mondays. I am Coach Brian.
And I'm Coach Joy.
And we're so happy to be here to discuss all the goings-on that has happened over the last week and weekend. It's been a fast and furious weekend with triathlon all over the country. Everywhere, especially here in the Midwest. So we're going to talk a little bit about the races that have come through this past weekend. And we're also going to have a little bit of discussion on a specific type of sport equipment that are very necessary, but maybe not very talked about in the sport of triathlon. Joy, what would that be?
Oh, it will be sports bras.
Okay.
Trust me on it.
Which I have no earthly information about nor experience with. So we will default to Coach Joy with that particular item of business today. But in the meantime, let's talk a little bit about triathlon in the Midwest here and actually throughout the country, because we've had a lot of athletes in the area that have gone on to compete or perform in a lot of the different races that were going on this past weekend. And of course, we also had a pro event with T100. That was an exciting event. Also a pretty solid preview, I would say, going into the Olympics. So I am Sans Computer here. So Coach Joy is going to help us out with some of the details from all the different races here. But where would you start?
I will start Midwest first because we're here in the Midwest. So what do we have? On Saturday and Sunday up north in Grand Rapids, Michigan was the actual Michigan State Championships. So the Grand Rapids Triathlon, where they had a sprint distance on Saturday and an Olympic distance on Sunday. So from Michigan, we go to the Midden State, the other Midden, because Michigan and Wisconsin make a Midden. The Milkman Triathlon.
The Milkman 70.3, which I actually had an athlete perform at that particular race this past weekend. And we are going to probably hear a theme from the races this past weekend in multiple locations that wind has been a thing this weekend with various races. So I didn't hear much about the wind at the moment, but we also found out that the wind might have been a contributing factor in various races by way of shortening the race. A bit more challenging for a lot of the racers, especially as it comes to headwind on the bike. But for the racer that I had going and competing this past weekend, it didn't seem to affect them too much because they still accomplished a wonderful, very respectable 5:15 finish in their race, 5 hours and 15 minutes, and finished 42nd overall.
Which is not bad at all.
So,
now we're going to go from Wisconsin. We're going to hit Nebraska.
Okay, down to the Omaha.
Where we had the multi-sport national championships for every multi-sport event in the sun. So if you don't like to swim, duathlon. If you don't like to run, aquabike. If you don't like to bike, aquathlon. And then short course and long super sprint distance, as well as standard distance. Now, on the aquabike, which was on Thursday, they had to shorten the standard distance from a 1,500 meter swim and a 40K bike to a 680-ish meter swim and a 20K bike because of 40 mile per hour headwinds.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know the first time that my wife and I went out on a bike ride together, her first experience hitting a headwind pretty much kept her from wanting to go back on a bike ever again on the outdoors. And in fact, my mother wants to create a country song that is a hill, a highway, and a headwind, which are the three most fun things as it relates to the bike.
Yes, it is. But then we go from Nebraska to Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, for the Des Moines 70.3, which went well, except for a lot of people were saying that the run was notoriously hot.
Oof.
Which It's the Midwest. You never know what you're going to get here. You might get sun, you might get rain, you might get excessive heat, you might get excessive wind, and everything in between.
Which is probably not a bad idea, so that when you are training, you do give yourself the opportunity, even though it may be uncomfortable, it might suck. You probably want to have the opportunity to be able to train in different weather conditions. So training for heat, training for humidity, training for wind, training for rain or at least mist, and be able to do so as best you can in a controlled environment, or at least doing it safely. So especially on those days that you are going to go out when it is a little bit more windy, when it is raining and wet and slick on the roads, especially when you're on the bike, maybe take a little bit of a step back. Try not to be the fastest you can be out there on the road. Take your time, get used to the bike handling. This is where bike handling skills are going to be very important, and learning how to control the bike in those different environments and conditions.
And one of the little tips, especially biking when it is rainy and slick, take out some of the pressure out of your tires, so your tires can grip a little bit more onto the pavement. So you're not going to, sometimes it might happen, you might wipe out, but just take some of the pressure, some of the PSI out of your tire. You'll be much better and much safer. But we always train for the race that we're given, not the race that we want, because there's never an ideal perfect race day.
Yeah.
It's like the mythical unicorn. Now, going from Des Moines, we're going to backtrack here to Chicago, where we had the Chicago 13.1 half marathon. This was, I believe, the third or fourth year of it. What makes this half marathon a little bit different than other half marathons in the city? It is not on the lakefront path.
Oh.
Nope, it starts in Garfield Park, and it covers Garfield Park, Humboldt Park, and Douglas Park. Really gorgeous area of the city that a lot of people don't think about on the west side. So it is part of the Chicago Marathon series. If you do the 13.1, the Chicago Marathon, and also the Shamrock Shuffle, that gets you that guaranteed way of getting into the Chicago Marathon if you get shut out in the lottery. Now, going from the Midwest here.
Actually,
yes.
Before you move on, Coach Joy,
Yes.
Let's go back to Omaha real
Yep.
quick, because the reason why Coach Joy and I are flying duo today is because Coach Chris and his wife and some of their crew were actually in Omaha this past weekend, competing in the Omaha Multisport Nationals. And he actually just chimed in with a note saying that speaking of bike handling, for those that are ever interested in doing a draft legal cycling event or triathlon, this is where also bike handling is going to become very important, so that you learn how to not only draft but also race in a pack. So just a good point. Thanks, Chris, for joining in and pointing that out.
So yes, you will never see me do a draft legal race. Just going to tell you that right now.
Why is that?
I don't like the bike.
So you mentioned the bike, but
Yes.
Is it just also the maybe higher anxiety of being that close packed?
The anxiety. I am not a strong cyclist. I've gotten so much better. My bike handling skills are so much better from riding the city streets of Chicago on a divvy bike and doing crazy things that I would never do on my bike. However, it's just too much error for me. And I'm like not trying to crash and break a bone. I'm kind of old. So there you go.
Whereas I'd be interested in it, but I just know that I would probably be spending more of my time in the back or middle of said draft. I've been told whenever I've gone out and cycling with my friends, most of which are much larger than I am. I am about 5'8" nothing, 160 nothing. So I've been told I do not draft well, and as in like I do not provide a significant amount of draft for people behind me.
And on the flip side, I provide a lot of draft for my friends because they're all shorter than me. I'm 5'11"-ish, maybe 165, and yeah.
So you'll just, if we're cycling together, you lead out.
I will lead.
You. So,
there you go.
Perfect. So find the people that you draft together.
Now, coming from the Midwest, we're going to take it to the East Coast, where we had Eagle Man 70.3, which is part of the Krabby Challenge, which if you do Eagle Man 70.3, And Maryland, Ironman Maryland, you get a special medal, which is kind of cool, shaped like a crab, have a crab in it. That course, although the race is flat, flatter than a pancake, it is hella windy. And from all my friends who did race, everyone said the wind was very disrespectful.
Disrespectful to the cyclists? Or
Yes.
to just about everybody?
Just to everybody. It was just wind. But now going from the East Coast to the West Coast.
All the way to the West Coast.
We
I'm
had
sure we did that.
I know.
Correctly.
East, West, yeah. We had a T100 series headed at Alcatraz in San Francisco, where Taylor Knibb,
I mean,
what
talk
can't
about,
she do?
for real, I talk about a great preview going into the Olympics. I mean, this is a great momentum,
Yes.
first and foremost, because I don't think Alcatraz is all that of an easy course, would you say?
No, I mean, the water is cold. Choppy.
Hard to see.
Just cloudy. You're running on sand to get to transition. Yuck. The bike is hilly because of San Francisco. The run is hilly
because of San Francisco.
But with Taylor Knibb just dominating, it's going to be interesting to see what she does in, number one, the triathlon that she qualified in for Team USA, but also cycling.
Yeah.
Like, what can't she do?
I mean,
really?
It's amazing. And then looking at the men's race, that was probably one of the most exciting men's finishes. I don't know if you saw any of it.
I saw clips of it.
So I think for anybody that follows like T100 on Instagram or anything on the socials, which is how I was able to see a lot of what the race looked like for the most part on over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing that finish by the athletes, by the men's top three, I mean, I think 3 seconds separated the top three, and the top two was basically a photo finish.
Yeah, this was nuts.
I mean, absolutely amazing. Just everyone crushing it. It looked like the swim got shortened up just a little bit.
Probably because of maybe what? Wind.
There you go. Although it made it look like our friend Sam Go Along had a little bit of an advantage with the wind, despite the hills, for a sub 2 hour bike split, which is just absolutely just crushing it.
Insane.
On the bike. So, congrats to all the professionals that were out there, and anyone that went out and did the Alcatraz race, any of the races this past weekend. So, congratulations to all of our athletes. Oh, and like we also I forgot we had Fox Lake Triathlon this past weekend. I know I saw like great photos from our friends with the Chicago Athletic Club, Tri Club, that had great team photos from the event. I'm sure we had other fantastic clubs and athletes out there competing. So again, if you're in the Midwest, if you are a local race, if you are a team or a club that would love for us to come out and do a race interview and showcase for either you, your club, the race in general, like what we just did this past week or 2 weeks ago with the Leons, we would love to be out there and continue to support everything that is race-related, club, team, athlete-related here in the Midwest.
Now, coming up on the triathlon schedule, we have the Pleasant Prairie Tri, which is going to be at the end of this month, is coming up. Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin is just up north. Not that far, just a little bit. For those who don't know where Pleasant Prairie is, it is outside of Kenosha, Wisconsin, and there's an outlet mall there. I'm just saying, just in case you need to shop after you race.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on the race end, like here locally, that we preview coming up?
I think we are done except Proud to Run will be at the end of this month. We'll have more details soon on that one. 5K and a 10K, it came back after a year hiatus. So be on the lookout for that. Marathon training for the Chicago Marathon officially kicked off today. So start looking out for all the running groups on the lakefront path, Saturdays and Sundays. Just be aware, be prepared, be safe.
Yeah, I did want to mention though too that one of the teams that was at Leon's last 2 weekends ago is a group with the Northwest Indiana Triathlon team. Unfortunately, the audio had cut out during a great interview that I had with their president. But luckily, she is going to be coming on to the podcast, and we're going to interview her tomorrow evening. And so it's going to give us a chance to be able to speak with her about their club, their history, and also knowing that they are hosting the Indiana State Triathlon Championships, which is coming up next month. So we're going to get a little bit more information about that, and will be a great interview to learn more about her, their club, and their dynamics. So again, just trying to get a little bit more information out there about all the different clubs and teams and opportunities for our triathletes. 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 I feel like I'm a triathlete, right? Triathletes out here in the Midwest. So that'll be a great interview and get a better preview and get some good momentum going into the Indiana State Championships. So stay tuned for that.
So
let's talk bras.
So, yes, I went in my closet because, as you know, I work in the fitness industry and I'm always in a sports bra. But let's talk about sports bras and why they're important. Number one, about 75% of all women are wearing the wrong sports bra size. So get fitted. Just like you get fitted for your running shoes, get fitted for your cycling shoes, get fitted for your bike. I hope you're getting fitted for your bike. You need to get fitted for your for a bra, and especially a sports bra. Now, in terms of fit, if you've lost weight, if you gained weight, you can want to get refitted. Every year, you might want to just try out a new bra. Bras do change.
How do they get fitted? Is it something that they somewhere that they go to? Someone that they go to?
You can actually go to Fleet Feet Sports. Actually, do sports bra fittings. Now, some folks will go to some non-sports retailers to get fitted. I would go to a sports-specific store only because they're going to put you in the right bra that you are looking for. If it's you're running a marathon, you're doing a triathlon, you're doing low intensity, high intensity work. There are different sports bras for different activities. Now, if you're very small or very flat chested, do you need a sports bra? Yes, because all of this is fat. You do not want to be uncomfortable when you're doing any high intensity work. Can you get away with wearing a regular bra? No. Regular bras are not meant for athletic activities because you sweat. You might chafe. We want something that is going to be wicking material. So I have a bra here. This looks cute, looks practical, right? You can pull over. Now there are some bras you can pull over your head, some that zip up in the middle, and some that has a back clasp. But the problem with this bra is it is made of 100% cotton. If you try to wear this underneath your tri-top and got into did the swim, from the swim you get onto the bike. Okay, nothing's wrong, but this is still wet. It's gonna hold a lot of water. Cotton material holds about 14 times its weight in water. What's gonna happen is over time, this is not gonna dry. This is gonna start chafing. And chafing, we all know, is the worst thing in the world. So instead of going for a cotton bra, cotton sports bra, now there are instances where you might want to wear a cotton sports bra, maybe weightlifting, maybe a low intensity yoga class, like more of a restorative yoga class, a restorative Pilates class, or a Pilates reformer class where you're not doing a lot of impact. This is what you want. Now, if you're looking for wearing something underneath your tri-suit, tri-top, the built-in bras that are in tri-tops, they do not provide a lot of support. So trust me on this, it does not provide support. Unless you're very, very small, you can get away with it. But err on, if you're bigger than an A cup, you do need to have a sports bra underneath your tri suit or tri top. Now, again, here's another one that is a pullover. This is more of a wicking material. So if this gets wet, it's going to dry quickly. Similar to like the dry fit materials, everything that you wear in running, all of the tri-specific workout gear is moisture wicking. So it's wicking moisture away from your body. So on a very hot, sweaty day, you're not going to worry about feeling like you're wearing just soggy, wet clothes. But also, again, we're worrying about comfortability, but also, is it going to chafe me? How will it hold up in the water? Now, there are some sports bras that have these little padded cups that are in here. You can either take them out or to keep them in place, sew them in to make them, makes it a little bit easier. Now, the reason why some of these padded cups are in, just in case you have nipplegate going on, and we've all been there, ladies. We've been there. If you haven't, you're lying. We have this. So these are separated cups. There are some sports bras that have an actual molded cup. So these are actually molded. You can tell from the side. But this also has an actual clasp in the back that you can adjust the clasp, but you can also adjust the straps. You want a strap that is not a really thin strap. You want something that's going to be very comfortable. One of the things specifically on this sports bra, this is actually the Brooks Dare crossback sports bra. If you do not have mobile shoulders, this might not be the bra for you. Why? You have to unhook one side, keep this clasp, put it over your head, and then clasp this side. But again, if you have limited mobility in your shoulders, this might not be the sports bra for you, because it's almost a Houdini trick trying to get this on and get this off. So another choice is to find a sports bra that actually zips up in the front and has an adjustable band that you can adjust underneath and also on the shoulders. Now, the zip up sports bras, one of the things that you want to, I do not own any of those, but what you want to be very aware of is the zipper itself at the top. Does it have a cover where it protects your skin from it rubbing on your chest?
Any irritation.
And this is true for all zippered tri tops and tri suits. If you're looking at purchasing one, make sure that that zipper is protected so it's not cutting in or digging into you.
So we just got a note from our friend Coach Shelley, who says that if your sports bra is causing chafing, her recommendation is to either use KT tape or Body Glide.
Or Sports Shield. Okay. So the KT tape. Now, depending on where it is chafing, normally the sports bra is chafing in the middle of your back, right underneath your boobs, your rib cage here, or actually on the side. So you want to put a strip of KT tape. It will hold, especially in water. You'll see athletes who have KT tape on their knees, on their ankles. It holds up very well. You can also use either Body Glide or Sports Shield. Now, here's the thing about Body Glide. If you are racing in a very hot and humid race, Body Glide does tend to melt off. So that's why I would suggest the Sports Shield, because it is a roll-on and it does stay put. Now, in terms of the age of your sports bras, your sports bra should never have a birthday. It's similar to running shoes. Your running shoes should not have a birthday. So the rule of thumb with sports bras, every time you buy a brand new pair of running shoes, buy a new sports bra. You should at least have a minimum of 3. 1 to wear, 1 as a spare, and 1 hanging to dry. You never want to put your sports bra in the dryer. You never want to technically, you don't want to put any of your technical outfits in the dryer. So your tri shorts, your tri tops, tri suits, do not do it. Because what's going to happen is it's going to start wearing down and it will start to fray. And that's the telltale sign. It's time for you to get a new sports bra or a new tri shorts or a new tri top. So what I want you to do when you get home, after watching this, I want you to go through your closet. Start inspecting everything that you have. Is it fraying? Does it look like it's going to cause chafing? Is your sports bra hanging on for a thread for dear life? If you have to wear more than 1 to keep you locked and loaded, it's time to get a new sports bra.
Any specific brands or locations that athletes should be looking for that sort of cover a lot of the suggestions that you're making today?
So you can go to wherever's your multi-sport retailer. Usually a running store is the best place to check out some bras. There are some other places such as Athleta, Lululemon, Under Armour. They have a really good sports bra line, surprisingly, for all types of activities. Online, you can try some of the other sports brands, such as Core Sports, Smash Fest Queens. There are a few that I can't think of off the top of my head. SheFit are some other brands, but the first thing is get fitted, because the sizing from one brand to another are completely different.
Seems to be consistent on a lot of things.
So look at the size chart and find out what size will work in different brands. So I know in some brands I'm one size. Another brand, I'm a completely different size, because I'm looking at that size chart. And every year before the kickoff of your season, get refitted, because our bodies change year from year.
So in addition to, even if they get the right material, the right size, they got fitted, it's the right type where they feel they don't necessarily have to Houdini themselves in and out, would you still recommend all of the other suggestions, whether it's the suggestions from Coach Shelley with regard to KT tape, Body Glide? They also mentioned 2Toms as a brand.
Yeah, 2Toms Sport Shield.
Yeah, Sport Shield.
Yes.
Would you recommend like doubling up to make sure with both the right type and style of bra, as well as those other items to minimize any irritation?
Yes. So it depends on how you are training. If you're training in cold climates, or if you're training in hot, humid climates, you have to try in both, because every day, even in training, it's another option. It's a test run of your material, of your equipment. We test our bikes, we test our running shoes. You need to also test your gear to make sure that you're not uncomfortable on race day. And last but not least, never anything new on race day.
I love that. Thank you for bringing that into to the mix, because regardless of what we're talking about, nothing new on race day.
Unless it's an absolute emergency. But if you're traveling to a race by air, have your kit, your shoes in your carry-on bag. Do not check it. And the reason why is sometimes they might not have your size at an expo or another store. If you are a rare size, such as a rare shoe size, rare clothing size, just be err on the side of caution. So,
okay. Yeah. So This is all very new to me. So thank you for this.
You're welcome.
And so somebody coming from a point of no understanding or no real experience with this. So if I heard you correctly, Coach Shelley, sorry. Coach Shelley is on our.
Hi, Coach Shelley.
Coach Shelley, thank you. So Coach Shelley, if I'm hearing you correctly, so number one, get fitted.
Yes.
Okay. Our bodies change often, and so it may not be a bad idea to get fitted often, or as our body changes throughout the year or over subsequent years.
Yes.
Make sure it is not a 100% cotton material. You want something that wicks. Right?
Yes.
So that it dries quickly when you're coming out of the swim, going into the bike, and the rest of your triathlon.
Yes.
We also want to find things that are that are going to support the the minimization of irritation. So things like Body Glide or KT tape or 2Toms. What is the other one that you're
2Toms Sport Shield. So
Sport
2Toms
Shield.
makes Sport Shield.
So those things to help prevent any irritation, things like that. And we also want to make sure that we have probably ideally 3 different minimum of 3. 1 to train, 1 to as a spare, and then the other hanging up to dry.
Yes.
Okay.
We will not say how many sports bras I own. We will not.
And nothing new on race day, and making sure that you have at least these 3.
Yes.
So that you're not at race day feeling like you have to stress for trying to find something on race weekend at a expo or anywhere else that you may not have your right size, and that you're prepared adequately for race day.
Yes.
So anything that I miss?
No. And for like, if you miss something or forget something on race weekend, I know of some athletes who've actually had to go to Walmart to purchase a sports bra because there was nothing else in that area where they were racing at, because they're in the middle of nowhere. So just keep that in mind.
Okay. I mean, again, from somebody that has no experience in this, I really appreciate having this bit of information, and hopefully our athletes that are watching or listening on our podcast, Apple or Spotify, that they also may have learned something new, because this may be something, especially for new athletes, that going into the sport, this may not be something
that you think about.
That's intuitive. They're like, oh, I need to go this next level beyond based on my type of activity that I've decided to perform. Because even though, for example, my wife performs a lot in the gym with strength training, this may not be necessarily something she thinks about in terms of bra selection.
Right.
But for those of us that do a multi-sport where there is a little bit more of transitioning from a wet environment to a dry environment, that we need to be thinking about these kind of things. And so, which is, again, whether it's this topic specifically, something for all triathletes to think about as it relates to what they are planning to race on race day, especially if you've never done this before, which is why it's great to connect with a coach, do as much research as you can online about what other athletes do in preparation for race day, find race day checklists, join in with a team, find other athletes that are also have some experience with the sport, and ask them questions. No question is a dumb question, because all of us have been new before, and there's so many nuances to the sport that you just may not know to ask, but just go ahead and just ask away, and I guarantee you will find something new or learn something new, and find something that you're like, oh my God, I never even thought to think of that. But there are all these athletes that are out here in the Midwest, here in the Chicagoland area, that are there to help you. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free. Comment down below, send us some more questions on the socials. We are happy to answer them. But if there's another topic like this where It is very specific to you, your demographic, your lifestyle.
Please let us know.
Please let us know. It'll be great to be able to showcase that and be able to help provide that extra amount of information that other athletes that might be like you can be able to learn and understand and better prep for their training and for their race.
And just remember, we've all, who are coaches, we've all done something goofy. My very first triathlon, I wore a Speedo workout bikini.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not recommend it. But it was a sprint triathlon. I was able to get through it, and the only reason I wore it, because it matched my bike.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Sometimes some of the priority is, do you look good when you're out there on the race? My biggest snafu for my first sprint triathlon was fumbling with safety pins, trying to put my race number on my T-shirt that I was going to run in for the run. So I was in transition and I was like, how does this work? Why is everybody already on the run? Why is this taking me so long to get this on? I don't think I'm doing this correctly, or there's got to be a better way, until I discovered race belts. So that was my big learning after my first race. So I'm sure there will be more than these and more to come. But Coach Joy, that was great. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
I learned something new. And if I ever then, therefore, work with any future female triathletes, I feel I have another tool in my toolbox to help them give best guidance as a coach to help them perform their best in their next race. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Coach Chris, Coach Shelley, thank you also for joining in our chat room here. Thanks for others that will be watching this in the future and or listening to it on our Apple or Spotify podcast. But for me, Coach Brian.
And me, Coach Joy.
Thank you guys so much for being here, and we will see you at the next Multi-Sport Monday for next week.
Bye.
And let's see how we go unlive. And